All rise for the Honorable Judge Kevin. The court will now hear case number 1-17, GI Sportz versus Valken.
If it please the court, I'd like to take this time. Gonna rap about the code and bust some rhymes. Be seated now as I prepare my statements. Gonna kick GI's case right to the pavement. My client is innocent, no blood on its hands. Just a few bruised egos from a couple businessmen. But it looks like a mini? Yeah, I guess it does. But it shoots so smooth, I feel a buzz.
Valken? I've heard some people call them that. That sounds dumb. It's gotta be Valken. I don't think I'll ever review a gun in the future that has the same level of background drama the Valken Code currently has. As of this review, GI Sportz and Valken are slinging lawsuits at each other at an alarming rate, and this one has to do with whether the code resembles the first generation Mini too much. And I'm here to judge if they have any merit, being the armchair legal expert I am. So GI Sportz says the meanies over at Valken made a gun that looks too similar to their old Mini, which they don't even make anymore, but who cares about that, right? Let's analyze GI Sportz' claim here. In 2006, Key Action Sports began selling a line of paintball markers with a distinctive look and feel. Hold on! It's the first sentence of their argument, and there's already a problem. 1. The Mini didn't come out in 2006. Prototypes of the Mini were shown at World Cup 06 with a scheduled release of December. However, retailers did not receive guns until early 2007. Strange how they say Key introduced the guns, when Key as a company did not even exist yet at the time. It was National Paintball Supply, or NPS for short. This was still before the PMI and National Paintball merger that created Key Action Sports. And who ran NPS at the time of the Mini's release? Oh! It was Gino Posterivo, you know, the guy who runs Valken now, who's being sued over a gun his former company released. It's like his history with the Mini has been swept under the rug here by failing to mention NPS's role with the gun. Not saying Gino owns the Mini design just because his former company released it, but it adds another bizarre layer to this story. Back to the documents though. The original model Mini was called the Inverter Mini, or Mini for short. Excuse me? Inverter. They can't even get their own brand right. It evoked an old-style compact submachine gun often referred to as a mini machine gun. Question? What the fuck is this talking about? Is this referring to the Mini like people actually commonly call their Inverter Mini the mini machine gun? Or are they just talking about random submachine guns which are also called mini machine guns? Why would they write that? Who wrote this? By packaging the marker's power source in the front grip instead of the rear grip, the front grip took on a wider shape than most round posts used by most other markers. They then go on to say that due to the distance between the foregrip and the trigger guard and the shape of the foregrip being square because there's a battery in there, the gun was a big seller. I mean, lots of guns come with the batteries in the foregrip now, so obviously the shape is not going to be round when the foregrip is no longer doubling as a regulator. In late February 2017, Valken began displaying images of a new marker under the name Code, which incorporates and copies GI's Mini's trade dress. Valken's Code has the same boxy shape formed by the flat top of the marker. First off, I gotta say, nice job stealing A&S Gear's photo to use in your official court documents. Couldn't even be bothered to take your own photos. Secondly, the Mini does not have a flat top. It's completely rounded. The axe has a flat top, but we're not talking about the axe here, so that doesn't really matter. Like GI's marker, the bottom points of the front and rear grip, not counting the CO2 chamber of Valken's Code, connect to form a line that is essentially perpendicular to the flat top surface of the marker. Not counting the CO2 chamber, huh? CO2 chamber? What, like a volumizer? Something neither the Mini or the Code even have? Did they mean a regulator? And neither marker's compatible with CO2 anyways. The freaking Mini regulator has a sticker on it that says, "Not for use with CO2." The front grip is placed very close to the rear grip, and the front of the trigger guard connects into the front grip to form the rear grip. Like GI's marker bearing the Mini trade dress, the trigger of the Code bears the same dual curve shape with a concave curve extending downward and slightly shifting to a convex curve at the bottom of the trigger. This right here. Sure, the Code has no gap between the frame and the foregrip. Lots of guns don't. But the trigger description floors me. The Mini flat out does not have an S-shaped trigger. It's a sling style like CP used to make, which has no second downward curve to speak of at all. And yet they bothered to go through all that trouble to describe something that isn't even there. It's almost like GI wants to lump all of their Empire guns into this lawsuit to make it seem more convincing. Well, the Code has a flat top, so it's copying the Axe. And, well, the Mini doesn't have a foregrip cover, but the GS does, so it's copying that. And, well, the Mini doesn't have an S-trigger either, but the GS does again, so we'll lump that in there too. I'm sorry, you can't have it both ways if the documentation says this is between the Code and the Mini, the original Mini only. Once again, I gotta ask, who wrote this? Who proofread it before it was filed? How could words like Inverter Mini, rounded posts, CO2 chamber, convex and concave trigger make it into the filed report? It reads like some hack typed it out on his smartphone after work. It's just a bunch of nonsense. All this, and I haven't even gotten to what I think of the Code itself. GI Sportz brings up when Valken started selling the Code, February 2017, which is when it premiered in its final form. But there's a problem with that already. The Code's design was known to the public way before February 2017, going back an entire year to February 2016. Yet, the gun premiered then as the Valken MK1 with slightly different body milling and no foregrip cover. But it's clearly the same gun, so why did GI Sportz wait 17 months to file this lawsuit when they knew about the gun over a year ago? I can't really say with confidence what their reasoning was for waiting, but what I can say is the Code is an absolute beast of a shooter. It's a spool valve gun with a blow-forward design that utilizes an air sear similar to an Ion or a Geo and has a very nice shot signature to it. It has a shot quality akin to guns that cost 3 times the price, and it not only competes with the Mini and the Axe, but actually exceeds them. Hell, I'm not even the only one who thinks that either. Just look at what a friend of mine who owns and loves his Axe thought about it after shooting the Code for the first time.
Shoot.
Yeah. So what do you think?
It's interesting. I do like it.
So how does it compare to like a Mini or an Axe? I don't think it feels that similar, despite the fact that it looks...
No, it doesn't. Doesn't feel at all. Wait, is it off? Is it blinking red?
That's eyes off, and then you hold it, and then it'll go... You gotta hold it for a bit longer than an Axe or Mini,
okay.
And then now it's off.
Okay. It definitely feels a lot...
Like more compact, at least.
Yeah, I would say more compact, but it shoots nice.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it shoots... it shoots a lot better than my Axe did.
Like out of the box or stock, at least?
I mean, is this straight out of the box?
Yeah.
So definitely...
The only thing that's changed on that is the barrel.
Okay. So yeah, I definitely say it shoots straight out of the box better than my Axe. Feels a little more compact, and the gripping is a little bit different since I'm so used to the Axe, but I definitely like it. He actually admits out of the box the Code is superior to the Axe, a comment that I didn't even see coming. One area that I was really blown away by is how consistent over the chrono the Code is. Out of the box, it was already dialed in, even with the stock barrel, though I did put a freak on there just because why not, I already have it, so. Paintball Media Magazine did a quick review on the Code and experienced the stellar shot-to-shot consistency that I did. Of course, since it was a magazine review with advertisers to please, it keeps away from any unpleasant topics and doesn't mention anything about using the gun on the field or any similarities physically to the Mini. Since I don't have any advertisers to please, I can say what I actually think about products. If something sucks, I'll say it sucks, since nobody's paying me to be nice about it. The Valken Code doesn't suck, and I'm not even a Valken fanboy. I have no loyalty to the Valken brand, and I have mixed feelings about the rest of their past products. So for those of you who think I'm Team Valken taking on GI, I hate to disappoint you, but I'm not. I think Valken's soft goods are of poor quality, particularly their cheaper pants, which can't hold a candle to the similarly priced JT Tournament cargos. I think their mask offerings are ugly as sin, and they don't breathe that well. And their paint is only okay at best, and most of it's made overseas, which I'm never a fan of, unless it's Colombia. Because that's where Nitroduct paintballs were made, and they were awesome. Anyways, I gotta wrap this up or I'm gonna lose my voice. The Valken Code feels good in the hands. Feels like a high quality gun, honestly. No unsightly milling marks or defects to be found anywhere. I was a little scared of the smallish trigger, but it's fully adjustable and it's no evil pimp or anything like that. The feed neck is very sturdy and clamps tight. The bolt engine has a toolless release for quick field stripping and pulls out easily for quick access to the body for cleaning. The bolt is a tailless style, so it's incredibly light for less vibration when shooting. Pressure controls are done through low pressure adjustments done to the back of the grip frame. It has quick threads on the cocker-threaded barrel and a rubber cover on the foregrip. Something I don't usually care for since I always wear gloves, but I know a lot of people like these sorts of things now, so that's fine. Battery placement is also toolless, and Valken advertises zero battery drain from its board.
I've had my code for 5 months now, and I've only put one battery in it, and it's still showing a high charge, so that's a good sign. I do wonder why Valken is marketing this gun under the Valken TACTICAL brand, when the gun is clearly made for more of a speedball crowd. The on-off ASA seems to work great too. It looks like it came right off the JT Impulse. I wonder why GI didn't mention that in their court documents. Sounds like a missed opportunity to me. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.
Help, rescue my cameras. What? Rescue my cameras, I said.